In an age where IVF and other fertility treatment methods are becoming standard practice, it's super alarming. I don't like the way it's going. I don't like to see it. And it doesn't have to be that way. Our ancestors, even just a couple generations ago, didn't have to have fertility treatments in the way that we do today. I'm Evan Brand, certified functional medicine practitioner and functional nutritional therapy practitioner. Let's dive in talking about natural fertility support. I've had many healthy babies as a result of my protocols. I've had 2 of my own healthy, beautiful girls and dozens and dozens of babies that have happened as a result of improving the lives and the health of the women and the men that I've worked with clinically. And sometimes they come in and fertility is not even a goal. Sometimes they come in and fertility is their main goal. But just increasing the health of the person really increases fertility. So let's dive in and talk about what we're going to do for people here. Number 1 is going to be clean up the diet. Well, duh. But you still see women eating gluten and dairy and going to the Starbucks drive-thru and getting a, caramel frappuccino with 40 grams of sugar. So we really need to stop that. So sugar, I would say gluten, because of the damage it's going to do to the gut, and dairy. I would say those are going to be the top 3 triggers. Really just going paleo is the key. I mean, it's that simple. Getting rid of dairy, at least temporarily. Now, meats are going to be pasture raised because you really don't want to get exposed to corn-fed meats. You look on the labels, even conventional meat these days is pretty much saying no antibiotics. That used to be kind of the thing people would say, oh, conventional meat, antibiotics. Not really. A lot of times you look at labels now, antibiotics are not a problem. However, what is the problem is these animals being fed corn and other grains that are contaminated with mycotoxins. If you haven't seen my video yet on mycotoxins and fertility, you can check it out, but that's a big problem. And so that's why you want pastured animals, because the quality of the feed affects the quality of the meat. So really just going paleo template is going to be first step. Number 2, you want to act quick on any sort of gut infection. So we're going to be looking for parasites. We're going to be looking for candida overgrowth. We're going to be looking for SIBO type issues. I would say these are the big smoking guns here. And then of course colonization. Colonization just means that you're growing mold. So when we run an organic acids test on people, we're going to find that they may be colonized, meaning they're actually growing mold in their sinuses and possibly their gut. And this happens due to weakened immunity. This happens due to being exposed to water damaged buildings. You can actually get colonized, where you're literally a mold factory. You're generating mycotoxins internally, and that massively affects fertility and the health of your baby and the outcome. Number 3 is going to be hormonal regulation. So this is a big problem because of all the synthetic estrogens and everything in the environment. So we really need to be working on regulating estrogen. There could be some issues in regards to progesterone, but I would say estrogen is probably the big smoking gun. So a lot of times we're going to come in something like DIM. We may come in with like, I'll just put BROC for short, broccoli extract, something that's going to be high in sulforaphane. We may be coming in with calcium D-glucarate. So we'll just put CG for calcium D-glucarate. Glucaric acid is something you get naturally in broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables, but you can attach a calcium molecule to that, and that actually inhibits an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. This is an enzyme that goes high due to bacterial overgrowth, and this really creates a recirculation of toxin effect. When it comes to the SIBO issue over here, the intestinal bacterial overgrowth is going to affect that beta-glucuronidase, and so we'll come in and we'll use calcium D-glucarate to address that, which in turn helps get rid of excess estrogens, which in turn regulates hormones, which in turn, ta-da, increases fertility. Isn't it wonderful? All right, so foundational nutrients. This is easy. So we're going to come down here so you can see. I've got a formula called prenatal essentials. So that's going to be what we're going to use most of the time with women. We're going to be using omegas. I've got one called Pure Omega, which is a triglyceride form of fish oil. It's the closest to the raw fish oil we can sell. We're going to be using a vitamin D plus K. We may be using probiotics depending on what's going on with the gut. There could be some histamine support. I know this is getting tiny. You might not be able to read this, but a lot of times histamine issues are common, and that can affect digestion. And then possibly, yeah, good point. I just said digestion. So possibly digestive enzymes as well. We'll just say digestive support. I mean, that could be bitters, that could be enzymes, that could be Saccharomyces boulardii, that could be chewable enzymes, that may be hydrochloric acid. I mean, there's various options, but really getting the foundational nutrients dialed in is key. Number 5, detox support. Hooray! That's why I put a smiley face here. Because detox support is critical, because we could do all this stuff here and you could still have a massive issue in regards to heavy metals and mycotoxins and all of that. So a lot of times we're going to bring in, depending on the situation, right? So if it's a prenatal sort of thing, we can come in and use something like GI Detox, which is going to be like a silica, clay, charcoal blend. But if it's someone is already pregnant and then we have to just do pregnancy support, then that's going to change the game plan. And then lastly here, we've got male health. So the men, for some reason, I don't know why, what's wrong with you guys, but for some reason the men, they get a free pass and they don't think they have to do anything. They could just sit there and eat pizza and drink beer and do whatever the heck they want. And then the woman's going to all these fertility treatments and getting injections and spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on IVF. It's ridiculous. Why is the man not getting involved? Come on, guys, what are you doing? So please, you got to do the same things here. You got to clean up diet. You got to go to bed on time, regulate circadian rhythm. We didn't talk about it here, but this would be involved with hormonal regulation. A lot of times for men and women, we're going to be bringing in adaptogenic herbs. So it could be rhodiola, ashwagandha, holy basil, a lot of mushrooms as well. Cordyceps, reishi, maitake, shiitake. There's a lot of different benefits for boosting immunity, especially if you've been dealing with gut infections or you've had some hormonal issues. You may need some extra support with the mushrooms to boost yourself back up. So this is Evan Brand signing out. If you need help clinically, click on screen or down below. Would love to help. Take care now. Bye-bye.